In the Duel Links meta history, the decks are represented by two separate yet equally important groups. The balanced meta as it all should be, and the unbalanced meta with everything being impactful. I'm here to cover them all. These are their stories.
In this month of January 2024, we were in a balanced meta with a lot of decks that can go toe-to-toe with each other, including the tier 1 deck, Tenyis. This meta relied heavily on coin flips, but whatsoever, this was a pretty balanced meta, before the darkness arises. A new box emerged known as Tachyon of Galaxy, a very hype box everyone was excited for. They were excited for Mizuki because it's a good zombie support for the top tier Mayakashi and the high potential Shirinois. And of course the other new zombie cards known as Doom King and Banshee, which gave a lot of hype to the zombie lovers. Of course we can't forget our beloved archetype, Galaxy Eyes, and their new busted skill. Other fans getting their hands on Successor Soul and trading for their Blue Eyes or other support cards like Dark Magician. Everyone was super hyped with all of those decks. But there's one left out with not much hype. The literal picture of the new box, Tachyon, and its support, living in the shadows until eventually they make their move. While everyone was enjoying their new support cards, the Mayakashi has finally reached tier 1 status along with Tenyis. But sadly they were dethroned super quick. Just like that, and never again, they will have that glory of being tier 1. But why, or who, or how? The Sleeping Certain deck finally had caught the eyes from other people like the TPC console members that determine meta decks from Duel Links meta. There was a deck that was on a whole other level, and we completely underestimated it. Tachyon Domination.
Arise, for we shall claim victory for Barrier. Number 107, Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon! Give it your best!
Though you know it won't be enough. It must be maddening trying to survive with such weaklings.
Tachyon Domination, the new tier 0 deck of the format. As it took forward to sit on the throne of the meta, it obliterated all other current meta decks like it was nothing to them. It didn't matter if the other meta decks went first, which gives more advantage against the past meta decks, because Tachyon is still powerful whether they go first or second. I'm gonna try my best to summarize this in a very short way. So first we can talk about Tachyon Domination skill. It was a really broken skill that changes everything even if you brick. Searches whatever specific dragon you need and even sets the first revealed dragon to build up your advantage against disruption. Not only that, but it searches a powerful online negate known as Tachyon Transmigration, or a rank up variant spell from outside the deck and was very accessible by just returning a dragon monster, which specific ones synergize really well with it. Not only that, but both effects were twice per duel, which makes it even broken. The Tier 1 board can be of many things, and it all just depends on the matchup they're facing. For example, against the X Tier 1 Mayakashi, all they really need to do is go into Xenophon. They can also play the new bundle card Filgren, which is really good if it goes first or second to negate your opponent's monsters. Of course, there's the ace of the deck, number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon that can come in handy sometimes in its evolved form, which can be really good. Of course, there's the Galaxy Eyes package that was once a threat with Photon Lowered, which I can't wait to make a video in the future. And let's not forget our most annoying rank 8 monster, which is Orgis Ding, which can be good for protecting your monsters from battle and card destruction, or outing any big threats like Leo Dancer, or forcing your opponent to use their disruption early before you put them to sleep. So yeah, the turn 1 board would be Tachyon plus any rank 8 monster depending on the match with a guaranteed honor negate that can be played from the hand, and turn 2 is when they can go even more aggressive depending on what they already have. This skill was so good that for some reason they even let them play Ice Dragon Prison, which is crazy, but really all you need is 1 or 2 card combo to be a threat, and everything else is staples, including the honor negate Tachyon Transmigration. Yes, even Tachyon had a FTK variant if they just went first. Coach Team Giant Trainer will draw 3 cards, hoping to search the key cards known as Xian Spy and Vengeful Servant, which obviously causes burn damage per game. And there was other staples that will help it draw the cards they need. It was still easy, and even if they somehow failed the FTK strategy, the deck is still powerful enough to overwhelm the opponent. I know I said nothing can stand up to it, but hey, that was the current meta before Tachyon was released. Now there was actually 2 decks that could stand up to it. The first deck is obviously Tachyon, the Mirror. It honestly counters the deck if you just go first. Why? Because there was another Dragon XYZ that is useful in Tachyon mirrors or against dragons in general. Me, number 46 Dragulon, Mizar's original ace monster before he became corrupted. Dragulon has an amazing counter effect that prevents your opponent's dragon monsters to activate their effects. This already gives them a huge counter to the other player, but it's not game over completely. The second deck I want to talk about is the old tier 1 deck that recently got supported. If Tachyon never existed, this particular deck could have been the best deck of the format. Can you guess what deck it is? You guessed it. The other deck that could rival Tachyon was Shiranui. Now I'm not going to explain how the deck works, there's just 2 things you need to know on why they were so good. Number 1, Shiranui style successor was so good on release. The first part of the skill used to add any Shiranui card, not just monster. Any, meaning a monster, spell, or trap. This means they can add Shiranui style Samsara to stall against Tachyon, and Shiranui is one of the best to be a long grinding game if you play your cards right. You can also play Ghost Meet Girl Shiranui story to extend your plays if you get interrupted, so it's like a plan B if you go second against them. But still, you can still win against Tachyon if you just play your cards right. Number 2, they have easy access to a card that easily kills Tachyon. Like seriously, this card will actually make the Mizar players panic, but mostly if Shiranui goes first. First of all, Shiranui can make Beatrice, which is crazy, right? But that's not the card that I'm talking about. The card I'm talking about is a card that goes by the name Mystery of the Gnomes. You either need to draw this card or make Beatrice to legit access it from the graveyard, because both of Gnome's effect is literally the same. You're wondering what did this even do? Just make a monsters level 7? First of all, your monsters in the hand are level reduced by 1, which means mostly all of your core dragons are going to be level 7. And therefore Nebula is shut down because it requires to reveal itself and level 8 dragons. But even worse, the skill is also shut down for the first part of the skill, so not even that can help fix your problem. Finally, the Domination has come to an end, with 2 banlers that killed the deck. First one was from February 21st and eventually another one on March 7th. These nerfs ruined the deck completely, but eventually they became balanced on June 21st, with a decently balanced skill. This deck will forever be remembered, traumatizing players in ladder, and how everyone slept on it at the very beginning. And now it will go back to sleep, until maybe one day, it will reawaken.
And communication.